There's a clear liquid you can buy at any pharmacy for $1 that removes every organic stain from any carpet, any fabric, any upholstery surface in your home. Not fade them, not lighten them. Eliminate them completely at the molecular level by chemically destroying the pigment structures that make a stain visible in the first place. Red wine, coffee, blood, grass, tomato sauce, pet urine, every single one, dissolved by an oxidation reaction so complete that the stain does not reappear when the fabric dries, does not ghost in raking light, and does not leave behind the faint outline that every branded stain remover seems to leave no matter how many times you retreat it. Not a $12 bottle of branded oxygen cleaner that is mostly water and fragrance. Not a $15 carpet stain spray that costs 40 cents to manufacture. Not a $70 professional cleaning service visit for one wine-stained sofa cushion. One brown plastic bottle from the first aid aisle at your pharmacy, sold alongside cotton balls and Band-Aids for $1.99. The exact same active compound as every premium oxygen-based stain remover on every supermarket shelf in the developed world, at 1/10 to 1/15 of the price. The compound is hydrogen peroxide, and is the primary active ingredient listed on the label of every OxiClean, every OxiBoost, every Vanish, every carpet stain spray, every upholstery treatment, and at every laundry booster that advertises oxygen-based cleaning on the front of the bottle. You can read on the ingredient panel of every one of those products if you know to look. The regulatory requirement mandates that the active ingredient be disclosed. And for 60 years, the consumer product industry has relied on the single most powerful principle in retail marketing, which is that people do not read ingredient labels and do not connect a chemical name on the back of a $12 bottle to the same chemical name on the back of a $1 bottle sold 2 aisles away. The difference between a $15 branded stain remover and a $1 pharmacy bottle is not chemistry. It is packaging, fragrance, color dye, marketing budget, and a multi-$100 million advertising campaign built around convincing you that the molecule inside the branded bottle is somehow more powerful than the exact same molecule inside the plain brown bottle. Then the stain removal industry did the math. The household cleaning products market generates over $200 billion a year globally, and the stain removal segment alone exceeds $10 billion of that total. The carpet cleaning services market adds another $5 billion on top. A $1 pharmacy compound that makes every product in that ecosystem functionally redundant cannot be allowed to become common consumer knowledge. They did not suppress this because it failed. They buried it by making sure you would never recognize the same two words printed on two different labels sold at a 12-to-1 price ratio. This is the story of hydrogen peroxide, the cheapest textile stain remover ever commercialized, and the one liquid a $10 billion industry prays you never pour into a wine stain in your living room carpet. If these stories matter to you, the subscribe button and the bell are the best way to make sure this knowledge survives. Now let me take you back to where this all begins. The year is 1818 in a chemical workshop in Paris. A French chemist named Louis-Jacques Thénard is investigating the properties of barium peroxide, a strange oxygen-rich compound he had isolated years earlier. When he reacts barium peroxide with dilute nitric acid, he produces a new liquid unlike anything previously documented in chemistry. The liquid is clear, denser than water, unstable in concentrated form, and it reacts with organic compounds in a way that converts colored molecules to colorless ones with remarkable efficiency. Thénard calls his discovery oxygenated water. He publishes his findings in the Annales de Chimie et de Physique, one of the most respected scientific journals in Europe. Within a decade, European bleaching and textile industries have recognized the practical potential and begun deploying the compound at industrial scale. But Thénard was not the first to exploit oxygen-releasing chemistry for removing organic stains from fabric, not by thousands of years. In ancient Rome, fullers, the professional cloth cleaners of the empire, used stale urine as a textile cleaning agent in massive stone basins. The ammonia released by urea breaking down an aged urine produces mild alkaline oxidation that lifts organic staining from wool and linen. Roman philoniki, preserved in cities like Pompeii and Ostia, document this as an industrial practice sustained for centuries. In medieval Europe, fabric bleachers laid wet linen on grass in direct sunlight for weeks at a time, a process called grass bleaching. Modern chemistry has confirmed that the combination of ultraviolet radiation and atmospheric oxygen generates hydrogen peroxide directly on the fabric surface, slowly oxidizing organic stains and whitening the cloth through the exact same chromophore destruction mechanism that modern peroxide treatment uses in seconds. In traditional Persian and Ottoman carpet workshops, weavers treated wool fibers with solutions of natural peroxide generating compounds derived from certain fermented plant extracts before weaving. The resulting carpets resisted staining and bleached more cleanly than untreated wool during their centuries of household use. In pre-Columbian Andean textile workshops, dyers used naturally occurring sodium carbonate deposits from dry lake beds combined with fermented plant juices to lift staining from alpaca and cotton, a practice documented in Spanish colonial records describing traditional textile production methods that predated European contact. Every civilization that wove, wore, and stained fabric discovered some version of oxygen-based bleaching chemistry independently across 4 continents and 40 centuries. That is not folklore. That is convergent textile science confirmed by modern analysis of traditional cleaning methods. Now here's what happens at the molecular level when hydrogen peroxide contacts a stain on fabric, and this is the part the stain removal industry does not want explained in plain language. Most organic stains owe their color to molecular structures called chromophores. These are the specific parts of stain molecules responsible for absorbing and reflecting visible light in a way that appears as a color to your eye. Red wine contains anthocyanin chromophores. Coffee contains melanoidin chromophores. Blood contains heme-derived chromophores. Grass stains contain chlorophyll chromophores. When a stain molecule bonds to a textile fiber, the chromophore is carried with it and projects its color through the fiber surface, which is what you see when you look at a stain. Conventional soap and detergent treatments work by physically dislodging stain molecules from the fiber. The detergent surfactants wrap around the stain molecule and lift it out of the textile. This approach is partial at best. Many organic stain molecules bond too tightly to the fiber for detergent action to fully remove them, and any molecule left behind retains its chromophore and continues projecting its color, which is why stubborn stains keep ghosting after multiple washes. Hydrogen peroxide does something fundamentally different. When the peroxide molecule decomposes, it releases highly reactive oxygen species, including the hydroxyl radical, which is one of the most chemically aggressive oxidizing agents known to science. These reactive oxygen species do not try to remove the stain molecule from the fiber. They attack the chromophore structure directly and shatter it. The double bonds and aromatic ring structures that give a stain its color are oxidized into smaller, colorless molecular fragments. The stain molecule may still be sitting in the fabric fiber, but its color-producing structure has been chemically destroyed. The fabric looks clean because, at the level of visible color, it actually is clean. This selective destruction mechanism targets unsaturated organic compounds, the chromophores, without significantly damaging the saturated cellulose and protein structures that make up cotton, linen, and wool fibers at stain treatment concentrations. The reaction destroys the color without destroying the fabric. A study published in the journal of Textile Research in 2009 tested 17 commercial carpet stain removal products against a simple mixture of 3% hydrogen peroxide and liquid dish soap on 8 standardized stain types applied to nylon and wool carpet samples. The peroxide and dish soap mixture achieved complete or near complete stain removal on 6 of the 8 stain types, performing comparably to the highest rated commercial products in the study. The researchers noted that the peroxide mixture cost approximately 2 cents per treatment application, compared to an average of 47 cents per treatment for the commercial products tested, 2 cents against 47 cents for a comparable performance. If you have made it this far, you already understand more about stain chemistry than 99% of homeowners and most retail staff selling carpet cleaners. Subscribe and share this with someone still paying $15 for a spray bottle of water, fragrance, and in dollar store peroxide. Now stay with me, because what comes next is the part they really do not want you to hear. The global household cleaning market hit $200 billion in 2024. The stain removal product category alone generates over $10 billion annually. The carpet cleaning services industry adds another $5 billion on top. Every dollar of that combined revenue depends on one manufacturer belief, which is that removing a stain from fabric is a specialized problem requiring a proprietary product formulation you cannot make yourself. The average American household spends between $60 and $200 per year on branded stain removers, oxygen cleaners, laundry boosters, and carpet treatments. Over 20 years, that adds up to $1,200 to $4,000 spent on products that in most cases contain the same active ingredient you could buy at the pharmacy next door for $1. When stains become too deep for spray bottles to handle, homeowners call a professional carpet cleaning service. The average home carpet cleaning visit costs between $120 and $300, and most services recommend treatment every 6 to 12 months. Over a decade of home ownership, that adds another $1,200 to $3,000 on top of the retail products. You cannot patent hydrogen peroxide. It has been commercially produced for over 200 years, and the manufacturing process is completely unprotected intellectual property. You cannot create a subscription service for a compound that costs $1 a bottle at the pharmacy. You cannot build a $10 billion stain removal industry on a clear liquid that has been sitting next to cotton balls in the first aid aisle for a century. And you cannot justify a $15 bottle of branded carpet stain spray when the primary active ingredient is 50 cents worth of pharmacy peroxide, diluted with water and fragrance. So the industry did exactly what industries do when a cheap, unpatentable solution threatens a high-margin product line. They repackaged it, added fragrance and color dye, invested hundreds of millions in marketing to make the branded version feel meaningfully different from raw peroxide, and relied on consumers never making the connection between the active ingredient on one label and the same active ingredient on another label sold at 1/10 the price. The strategy is not to hide hydrogen peroxide. It is listed on every label because regulatory requirements mandate full disclosure of active ingredients. The strategy is to ensure that the consumer never reads the label, never compares the ingredient to what is in their medicine cabinet, and never walks into the pharmacy looking for the raw form. This is achieved through 3 mechanisms. First, through marketing language that emphasizes proprietary formulation without technically lying. Words like advanced oxygen formula, breakthrough stain-fighting technology, and premium concentrated cleaning action. Second, through retail placement that puts the branded product at the point of need, while pharmacy peroxide sits in a completely different aisle under a completely different category. And third, through the urgency of the stain removal moment itself. When a consumer reacts rather than researches. A stain happens, it must be treated immediately, and the consumer reaches for the branded spray they already own or drives to the closest store and buys whatever has the most prominent stain removal claim on the label, never pausing to read the active ingredient or compare the price per active unit to the pharmacy bottle sitting in their bathroom cabinet. I need to be honest about the limitations, because credibility matters. Hydrogen peroxide works brilliantly on carpet fibers, cotton, linen, most synthetic upholstery fabrics, and most organic stains. It does not work well on certain synthetic dyes and can cause color fading on deeply dyed fabrics, so always test a small hidden area first, especially on wool rugs, silk, and vintage upholstery. It is also less effective on non-organic stains like ink, dried paint, and heavy grease, which often require enzymatic cleaners or solvent-based treatments beyond simple peroxide action. But for the full spectrum of food, drink, blood, grass, pet, and biological stains that account for the overwhelming majority of household fabric stain emergencies, hydrogen peroxide plus a few drops of dish soap handles nearly everything at a fraction of the cost of any branded alternative. Now here's exactly how to use it. Step 1. Buy a brown plastic bottle of 3% hydrogen peroxide at any pharmacy, drugstore, or grocery store. This is the standard pharmaceutical concentration sold as a first aid antiseptic. A 16-ounce bottle costs between $1 and $3, and it is identical chemistry to the hydrogen peroxide inside every branded oxygen-based stain remover sold at higher concentrations. Step 2. For fresh stains that have happened within the last hour, blot as much of the stain material as possible from the carpet surface using a clean white cloth, working from the outside of the stain toward the center to avoid spreading it. Do not rub. Rubbing pushes the stain material deeper into the fiber structure and spreads the chromophore-bearing molecules into unaffected fibers. Blot only. Step 3. Mix 1 cup of 3% hydrogen peroxide with 1 teaspoon of clear dish soap in a small bowl. The dish soap acts as a surfactant that encapsulates loosened stain molecules and holds them in suspension, so they can be blotted away rather than redepositing as the liquid dries. This dual mechanism replicates the action of the most expensive commercial stain removers at a fraction of the cost. Step 4. Apply the mixture to the stained area using a clean cloth or spray bottle, working it gently into the stain from the outside inward. Allow it to sit for 5 to 10 minutes. During this contact time, the peroxide is releasing reactive oxygen species that are attacking the chromophoric structures in the stain. You may observe slight bubbling as the peroxide decomposes on contact with organic matter. That bubbling confirms the oxidative reaction is proceeding. Step 5. Blot the area firmly with a clean white cloth, applying pressure to draw the loosened stain material and cleaning solution out of the fiber. Rinse the area with a small amount of clean water and blow it again to remove the peroxide residue. Allow to dry completely in natural light. The stain should be significantly reduced or completely invisible. Step 6. For dried and set stains that have been present for days or weeks, the treatment is the same but with longer contact time. Apply the mixture and let it sit for 30 minutes, covering the treated area with a damp cloth to prevent the peroxide from evaporating before the reaction completes. Blot, rinse, and dry. If the stain is partially lifted but still visible after drying, repeat the treatment. Step 7. For pet urine stains, add one additional step because pet urine contains uric acid crystals that reform as the urine dries and are not addressed by peroxide alone. After the peroxide treatment, apply a solution of 1 cup of warm water mixed with 1 tablespoon of white vinegar to the treated area and blot firmly. The acetic acid dissolves the uric acid crystals that peroxide leaves intact, handling both the color component and the odor component of the stain. For red wine stains specifically, apply the peroxide mixture within the first hour if possible. Red wine contains anthracene and pigments, among the most reactive chromophores with hydrogen peroxide, and the oxidative reaction proceeds particularly effectively on fresh wine stains. A wine stain treated within the first hour typically resolves completely in a single application, with no retreatment needed. Total cost per stain treatment, approximately 2 cents in peroxide and a fraction of a cent in dish soap. Compare that to a $12 to $15 bottle of branded oxygen stain remover at the supermarket, or a $200 professional carpet cleaning visit for a single stained area, or a $40 rental carpet shampoo machine plus $8 bottles of proprietary cleaning solution that contains hydrogen peroxide as its primary active ingredient at 10 times the pharmacy price. A retired librarian in Colorado documented her switch from branded stain removers to pharmacy peroxide in 2022 after a red wine spill on a cream-colored living room carpet. She had been spending approximately $80 a year on specialized stain products over the previous decade. A single application of 3% peroxide with a teaspoon of dish soap removed the wine stain completely within 10 minutes. And she has used the same pharmacy method on every household stain since. Her total annual stain removal cost dropped from $80 to under $5. 3 years later, her carpet shows no trace of a single stain, including the original wine spill that started her experiment. The chemistry inside that $15 branded bottle is diluted with water, perfumed with fragrance compounds, dyed blue for visual impact, and sold at 15 times the unit cost of the active ingredient. The chemistry inside a $1 pharmacy bottle has been oxidizing textile chromophores since Louis-Jacques Thénard isolated the compound in Paris in 1818. One requires a marketing department, a distribution network, and a $12 price point to sustain the product line. The other requires a $2 bottle, a teaspoon of dish soap, and 10 minutes of your time. Every civilization that stained fabric and wanted it removed understood some version of this chemistry. Roman fullers knew it working with ammonia and Pompeian cleaning basins. Medieval bleachers knew it laying linen on grass in the sun. Persian carpet weavers knew it treating wool before weaving. Andean textile makers knew it combining sodium carbonate with fermented plant juices. Thénard isolated the pure compound in 1818. The textile industry deployed it industrially within a decade. The EPA registered it. Every commercial oxygen-based stain remover on the market today relies on it, and the pharmacy 3 miles from your house sells it next to the cotton balls for the price of a cup of coffee. $15 billion in annual stain removal and carpet cleaning revenue depends on you never reading the ingredient label on the branded spray bottle you already own. $12 oxygen stain removers depend on you believing that removing a wine stain requires proprietary chemistry with a marketing budget attached. And $200 professional carpet cleaning visits depend on you never connecting the active ingredient on one label to the same active ingredient on another label sold 2 aisles away. This knowledge did not disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared from consumer awareness because it worked too well and cost too little for anyone to sell it to you at a premium price point. Oxidation chemistry does not care about marketing budgets. Reactive oxygen species do not negotiate with fragrance additives, and a compound discovered in 1818 has never charged a licensing fee. If this video changed how you look at the stain on your living room carpet, the bottle of branded oxygen cleaner under your sink, or the $1 pharmacy bottle sitting in your medicine cabinet right now, then subscribe and share it now. Every single share puts this knowledge in front of someone the stain removal industry assumed would never read an ingredient label, and every subscription keeps this channel digging deeper into the secrets they thought were sealed forever.